Canada's CF-18 Hornets have served for decades, but they're now relics of a bygone era. So, Ottawa set out to find a new fighter jet, one that could defend the vast Arctic and meet modern threats. The contest came down to two radically different machines: the American Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II and Sweden's Saab Gripen E. The F-35 is a technological marvel, stealthy, networked, and the poster child for next-gen air power, but it comes with a jaw-dropping price tag. The Gripen E, meanwhile, is the pragmatic choice, smaller, lighter, and built for harsh conditions with a focus on reliability and cost-effectiveness. The F-35 promises dominance, the Gripen, flexibility and independence. For Canada, with its huge territory and limited budget, the decision was never just about specs, it was about defining the nation's priorities. Would Canada choose cutting-edge power or practical, affordable strength? This wasn't just a purchase, it was a statement about Canada's future. The stage was set for a classic showdown, high-tech American muscle versus clever Swedish engineering. The outcome would shape Canada's Air Force and its identity for decades to come. In 2021, Canada's official competition delivered a clear verdict. The F-35 crushed the Gripen on paper. The F-35 scored an overwhelming 95% in military capability, dazzling with its stealth, sensors, and NATO interoperability. The Gripen, by contrast, managed just 33%, a result that made it look hopelessly outclassed. The government quickly announced a $27 billion deal for 88 F-35s, touting it as the only logical choice for a modern air force. The press releases went out, and the F-35's victory seemed absolute. But as the celebrations faded, doubts crept in. The lopsided scores raised eyebrows. Was the competition stacked in favor of the F-35? Critics began to question whether the best jet on paper was truly the best fit for Canada's unique needs. The story, it turned out, was far from over. As the dust settled, a new narrative emerged. The Gripen wasn't a loser, it was a different kind of winner. Its strengths lay in the essentials: low cost, easy maintenance, and unmatched operational flexibility. The Gripen could launch from icy highways, be refueled and rearmed in minutes, and fly more missions per day, crucial for Canada's vast remote north. Its affordability meant more flight hours and better pilot training, while the F-35's high costs threatened to ground it more often than not. Canadians began to ask, do we need a stealth fighter for every mission, or a reliable workhorse for daily defense? The Gripen's practical advantages challenged the competition's focus on high-end combat. Suddenly, the underdog looked like the smarter choice for Canada's real-world challenges. The debate shifted from raw power to what actually works for Canada. The Swedish jet had changed the conversation. Comparing the F-35 and Gripen E is about more than specs, it's a clash of philosophies. The F-35 is all about stealth and sensor fusion, perfect for high-stakes NATO missions and deep strikes into hostile territory. The Gripen E, while not a true stealth jet, excels at electronic warfare, speed, and agility. It's designed for versatility air combat, ground attack, reconnaissance, all at a lower cost. The F-35 demands specialized maintenance and deep pockets. The Gripen is built for quick turnarounds and affordability. For nations needing maximum value, the Gripen's economics are hard to beat. The F-35 is the ultimate weapon for major wars. The Gripen is the practical choice for daily defense. It's like choosing between a supercar for rare races and a sports car you can drive every day. For Canada, the real question is, which jet fits the mission? The answer isn't as obvious as the official scores suggest. It's a choice between elite capability and everyday readiness. By 2025, Canada's F-35 order had stalled. Only 16 jets were on the books, and the government was rethinking the deal. The issue wasn't performance, but cost and limited economic benefits for Canadian industry. Enter the mixed fleet idea. Buy a smaller number of F-35s for top-tier missions and supplement with Gripens for daily patrols and training. The F-35s would handle NATO and NORAD duties. The Gripens would be the workhorses, saving money and boosting pilot hours. Critics warned of logistical headaches, but the potential savings and industrial benefits were hard to ignore. Suddenly, the debate wasn't just about which jet was better, but whether a combination might be best of all. Canada was reconsidering its options. Sensing opportunity, Saab made Canada a bold offer: build Gripens in Canada, creating 10,000 jobs and a new aerospace industry. This was more than a sales pitch, it was a promise of economic transformation. In contrast, the F-35 deal offered no guaranteed jobs or investment, just the chance for Canadian firms to bid on contracts. Saab's proposal shifted the debate from military specs to jobs and prosperity. Politicians took notice, using the offer as leverage in talks with Lockheed Martin. Now, Canada faced a new dilemma: unmatched F-35 capability versus Gripen's lower costs and domestic jobs. The choice was no longer just about flying the best jet, it was about building the future. The stakes had never been higher. Canada's fighter jet saga became a story about more than technology. It was about national priorities. The F-35 offers cutting-edge power and global prestige, but at a steep price. The Gripen promises smart design, efficiency, and a homegrown industry. Saab's offer forced Canada to weigh military might against economic independence. As of December 2025, the country stands at a crossroads, seriously considering a mixed fleet. The lesson: the most expensive option isn't always the smartest, and the underdog can surprise you. Canada's final decision will reveal not just its Air Force strategy, but its vision for the next 50 years. Will it choose power, independence, or a clever mix of both?